A sewing lesson from Sew New York. This lesson will teach you how to sew the blind hem. Hi, welcome to Sew New York. I'm Laura McCracken, and today I'm going to teach you how to sew the blind hem stitch. This is a machine stitch, and you will need a special foot. It's called the blind hem stitch foot, or the blind stitch foot. A lot of machines will come with it, some may not, but you should have the foot in your arsenal of feet for your machine. I like to use the blind hem stitch on my casual garments and not on my good ones per se. So when I'm sewing on cottons, like this cotton dress here, I would use the blind hem stitch. It's a very casual dress. It doesn't have anything special going on. It's very simple. And I would use the blind hem stitch on that, as well as on these cotton denim slacks. They're very casual, comfortable pants. And using a blind stitch on these works out well. This is a washable pair of slacks. The dress is washable as well. So on wash and wear casual garments, some of my knit garments, I would recommend the blind hem stitch. But if you're sewing on special things that you're taking more time, if you're working on silks and on chiffons, or just a special project that you're doing for a special occasion, I would use a hand-done hem stitch. And I have a video for that. You could look for it. It's the classic hem stitch, and the video will teach you how to sew a nice hand-done hem stitch. But for other things, I have no problem doing the blind hem stitch. As long as you use the proper color thread, a thread that would match the fabric that you're sewing, you're never going to see a stitch on the outside of the garment. Alright, so now let's go over to the sewing machine and take a look at how to sew the blind hem stitch. Here at the machine, we're looking at the blind hem stitch. It truly is a great machine stitch. It's out of sight. And when I say out of sight, I do truly mean that. On mine, you will see the black stitches here. I can come in a little bit closer to show you that. But if you use a matching thread, it'll be out of sight. You won't see the stitches at all. And now we're taking a look at the underside, the hem side, where the actual blind stitch was done. And you can see about 3 or 4 straight stitches and then a zigzag. 3 or 4 straight stitches and then the zigzag. And that little zigzag is what you see picking up on the outside here. So using a matching thread, you won't see anything at all. The next thing you want to do is attach the foot. So I'm going to remove the regular foot that I have on here and install the blind stitch foot. The blind stitch foot looks somewhat like this. And it has this piece running down the middle, a center piece. And you're going to want to attach your foot to your machine and then follow the instructions in your manual as to how to set the stitch on the machine. Next, you're going to want to prepare your hems. So this is going to be the hem, and I like to use seam binding or hem tape. So I've sewn my seam binding on to my garment. Okay, and if you don't want to use hem tape, you could finish your edges in other fashions. You could do a very simple stitch along the edge. I zigzagged it first and then I folded it up. So now I have a nice clean edge that I would then fold up and pin as the hem. If you don't want to do that sort of thing, you could do something even simpler. You could just zigzag it and then run a nice running stitch, and then you would fold it again and pin your hem like that. Okay, now we're looking at the hem. And I've started to pin it up. As you can see, I'm pinning it. And I'm showing you the inside of the underside of the garment, and the hem is being folded over, and I'm doing a 1 3/4 inch hem, and I'm allowing my pins to go towards the bottom of the hem, towards the hem line down here. So let the pins point down towards the hem. One more pin here. And this will make it easy to take the pins out as we sew it up. Now Now we're going to fold the hem back so that the underside of the seam binding or the hem tape shows, and we've created this nice little fold here. All right, and we're going to place this into the machine. I'm going to show this up to you a little bit closer so you can see exactly how it's folded. This is the way it was before with the pins. And now I'm just taking that and turning it and letting the folded edge of the fabric underneath lie next to the underside of the hem tape. Okay, now we're going to line up the fabric underneath the blind stitch foot, and we're keeping this center guide right here along the right at the folded edge. So the fold is on the left side of that center guide, and it's that beautiful center guide that helps the zigzag stitch to just do one stitch and take a little bite out of the hem, and then it goes back onto the hem tape side and it sews the 3 or 4 straight stitches. So I'm going to take a few stitches and get it started, and I'm going to take the pin out before I get to it. And now it's going to go in and take a bite. I'm going to pull out the pin and I'm going to continue along. Take out the pins as you go along. Almost there, a little farther. Okay, and let's check it out. Okay everyone, and here is our completed blind stitch. It looks great. You can see it clearly because of the black stitches. Let's take a peek at the other side. And you see how nice and neat the stitches are placed apart from each other? Looks really good. Don't forget to use the correct color thread. It should match your fabric. Take a look at the other side again. I have it enlarged a little bit. It looks great. Okay, see you at the next lesson.